Got breaking news right now. Moments ago, former President Donald Trump left his Mar-a-Lago home, and as you can see, he is now in a motorcade heading to the airport where his Trump-branded plane is awaiting, all ahead of his arraignment tomorrow.
That's right. He'll arrive at LaGuardia Airport in New York later this afternoon. Trump is expected to surrender to New York authorities and make that court appearance tomorrow. NBC News correspondent Blayne Alexander joins us now live from West Palm Beach, Florida, where she's also been watching this departure. Blayne, walk us through this. You told us about the bridge and some supporters along the way. It looks like the former president is nearing the airport. Tell us about this journey so far.
Yes, Savannah, he is approaching the airport. He's been en route for about 11 minutes or so, give or take. So soon we will see him get on his Trump-branded airplane and fly up to New York. As for the supporters, yes, we saw some at the bridge. But what's been interesting is as this motorcade, as you can see right there, we've seen a number of supporters just kind of dotting this path, dotting the 10-minute or so drive that he's taken from his private residence to the airport, as you see his motorcade turning in right now. But we've seen a number of people holding flags, holding American flags, holding Trump flags, kind of spread out throughout, but you can see that this is, for so many people here in the West Palm Beach area, this truly is a spectacle, that some cars had pulled over to the side of the road and just gotten out just to catch a glimpse of the former president in his motorcade as he gets ready to make this truly unprecedented trip. Now, I think it's important to note that when we talk about the former president, we throw around the term unprecedented a lot, but this truly checks that box when you consider the fact that he is getting ready to go on a plane to turn himself in and face arraignment for criminal charges. Now, I think that one thing that's worth pointing out as well is that this plane, again, has been visible, has been in plain sight. This is something that the people here in the West Palm Beach area certainly recognize. They certainly see often, but it's also parked there strategically. Like, he doesn't make any bones about the fact that he wants people to know when he's in town. He wants people to know when he's in his private residence. And to that point, it's really interesting when you kind of look at the contrast between where he's coming from, his safe space of Florida, his private residence here, where he is truly surrounded in many places by supporters, and going up to Manhattan. Of course, he's going to rest overnight at Trump Tower. That was his longtime home. But for many people in Manhattan, he's going to certainly not receive a warm welcome from many people there in Manhattan. So it's notable that he is going to come back here to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow night to deliver really his first public remarks since we see this process play out in New York. He's going to be speaking at 8:15, a primetime address, and really kind of give his reaction in real time to what's transpired over these 48 hours or so, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Blayne, what do we expect when he gets back tomorrow? Is this going to be more of a news conference where he takes questions, or is he basically just going to be talking to the camera and sharing his feelings?
I think we're going to find out when it all begins. You know, the nature of former President Trump is that we really don't know until he starts, until the press conference begins or until the proceedings begin. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But if his social media posts over the past 48, 72 hours have been any indication, he certainly has a lot that he's going to want to get off his chest. He has a lot of grievances, really, with every step of this process. He has lashed out at the DA there in Manhattan that is bringing the charges. He's lashed out at the judge who's been assigned to this case. He has repeatedly declared himself an innocent person. He's called this election interference at the highest level. That was one of his posts. And we've also notably heard from his campaign as well. In fact, just within the last hour or so, his campaign has been busy sending out emails to supporters. One of the subject lines for those guys was, "Tomorrow I will be arrested." And so they're certainly doing what they can to capitalize and benefit from this opportunity as they see it to raise money on this as well. So, Joe, I suspect that we're going to see some mashup of everything there, an airing of grievances, speaking ahead to his 2024 campaign, and certainly any sort of reaction that he has to give to the last 48 hours or so.
It looks like we should be seeing the former president potentially momentarily. Blayne, I'm not sure if you have returned as well, but we now see that the motorcade has pulled up. We'll stay with these pictures here as he comes to his private jet. As you said, Trump branded. People know when he's in town. It's often there in Palm Beach, given that Mar-a-Lago is now where he spends most of his time. But we should be seeing the former president be getting on this jet any moment now. And unlike most of us who have to go through security when we arrive at the airport in order to fly commercial, you can see the former president has an advantage here, bypassing all that procedure to get to his private plane, which will take him directly from Florida to New York's LaGuardia Airport, where he will then also get accompaniment all the way to his Trump Tower, where he'll spend the night, and then again heading to the courthouse in Lower Manhattan tomorrow for that arraignment.
little different procedure when you're the former president getting around to and from.
He gets to keep his shoes on. That's for sure. Blayne, tell us a little bit about where the former president has just driven up to now, and what we do know about any type of what does go on normally when he's getting on and off of this jet. And we might be able to see him there. You have better eyesight than I do, Joe.
Yeah, I don't see the former president quite yet. Go ahead, Blayne.
No, I was going to say, and again, this is we've got a fantastic shot, but it is kind of difficult to make out who is climbing the stairs. As you guys were talking, though, I did see an individual get up, and it appeared turn around and wave. I'm not sure if that's the former president or not, but there seemed to be a stillness as somebody got on the plane there, guys.
He'll be traveling, of course, with a large contingency of people as he prepares to board this plane. All eyes on the former president as he prepares to leave. He's already left his Mar-a-Lago home. Now he'll be leaving Florida and heading to New York for a moment, truly historic moment in American history. The first time a president or former president has been charged with a crime. NBC News correspondent Blayne Alexander, we thank you so much for your help. We're going to continue to have coverage of Trump's departure from Florida to New York for his arraignment as it develops.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.